This video is brought to you by TeePublic. Get some unique designs made by me on t-shirts, stickers, mugs, you name it. Beetlejuice 2 is coming out, so check out my newest creation and wear it to the movie. Link is in the description. Thank you for your support. Sorry it took so long, but I'm back now. Here we go, it's part 2 of my top 30 favorite cartoons. Number 20, The Flintstones. Yeah, I know it's almost a cliche to put this on here, but I can't help it. It's just that good. It's pointless to talk about it, you all know it. The lives of our favorite Stone Age family from Bedrock. Loudmouth Fred Flintstone, his patient but loving wife Wilma, and their friends Barney and Betty Rubble. I think the fantasy setting is super clever, taking a typical family sitcom of the time and putting it in the prehistoric era. The world building is very creative, and I love all the animal appliances making snarky remarks. The characters are a lot of fun too, and it's no wonder why they stood the test of time. It's a shame that many attempts to revive the show for current audiences has been all for naught, but we still have the groundbreaking original. It's one of Hanna-Barbera's biggest trademarks for a reason. Number 19, The Powerpuff Girls. No, I'm not talking about the show with annoying unicorns, twerking, or whatever the hell this was. I'm talking about the original. 3 kindergarten superheroes fight crime in the city of Townsville, which include giant monsters and a rogues gallery of colorful villains. I always said there's a lot for boys and girls to enjoy here. Maybe that's why I never saw it as a girly show as a kid. Everyone could enjoy these characters, the violence and the art style, which is a perfect mix between classic Hanna-Barbera and UPA, Ren and Stimpy, and anime. Kids couldn't get enough of the Powerpuff Girls when it came out, myself included, and for a while it was CN's flagship show. It had tons of merch and even a movie. Sure, I do wish some of the other classic CN shows got more attention, but it's still one hell of a great cartoon, and a great pick for the 19th spot. Number 18, Over the Garden Wall. Set in the 19th century, a teenager named Wirt and his little brother Greg get lost in a mysterious forest called the Unknown and must find their way home with the help of their friend, Beatrice. They meet a bunch of strange characters along the way. The show is gorgeous. I just love looking at the backgrounds. It's a perfect show to watch during the fall season. The colors are just so good. The characters are also fun. I thought Greg would get on my nerves after a while, but I enjoyed watching him all the way through, and Beatrice's annoyed attitude is a great contrast. Wirt is pretty much a straight man and all the madness going on. I love the music, which has an old-fashioned feel, and a surreal and unsettling imagery, which feels very Miyazakian. It's definitely one of the shortest runs of any Cartoon Network show, but trust me when I say it's worth the watch.
Whoa, yeah! Good one, Wirt.
Thanks.
I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to Wirt.
Number 17, Dexters Laboratory. One of Cartoon Network's first original series, and arguably the one that put the original programming on the map. The adventures of a boy genius Dexter with a secret laboratory in his bedroom. He also has to deal with his idiot older sister Dee Dee and his arch rival Mandark interfering. These are very lovable characters, and if you haven't guessed by now, I love characters who are perfect foils to each other. Dexter's arrogance and super intelligence contrast to Dee Dee's destructive and hyper personality. The show has a mix of everything: comedy, action adventure, sci-fi, parody, you name it. I even love some of the other segments, my favorite being the Justice Friends. Recently, the whole series became available on DVD, and I can't wait to get it. It really was the game changer for both Cartoon Network and Hanna-Barbera, and one of creator Jenny Tartakovsky's best works. Before we continue, if you like this or any of my other videos, I would ask you to consider supporting me on Patreon, where every dollar goes to production like software expenses and getting these out on a regular basis. You could get early access, a special credit, shout out to a YouTube, Twitch, or blog, a commission by me. You could even request a Hanna-Barbera or Tom and Jerry special for the Funtastic Legacy of Hanna-Barbera minisodes, which could be anything from this list. If you don't want to, you can also donate to me on Ko-fi. And liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing, and clicking the bell icon is much appreciated. Thank you all so much for your support. And now, back to the video.
Welcome back to our show.
Number 16, The Proud Family. Disney Channel's first original animated series. It's centered on a black family in the suburbs, which features our protagonist, teenager Penny Proud, her father Oscar, mother Trudy, brother and sister BB and Cece, and of course her grandmother Sugar Mama. What I appreciated about this show was seeing cartoon characters that actually looked like me. Cartoons with an all-black cast wasn't really all that common back then. What, were we at like Little Bill at that point? Creator Bruce W. Smith drew many inspirations to his experiences growing up and his own family. Penny Proud, in my opinion, is one of the best kid characters in all of fiction. She tries to do the right thing, but like any kid, she succumbs to peer pressure. She gets annoyed by her parents, she has shitty friends. You don't look down on her for it because she's just a kid. I think that's relatable to anyone watching. I also love how some episodes aren't afraid to tackle more mature subjects, but also not afraid to be a cartoon at the same time. One episode could be about race, bullying, or even xenophobia. Another could be just as simple as getting rid of a crazy duck. You're probably wondering what I think of the sequel series, Louder and Prouder. I like some of it, though one or two of the new characters got on my nerves, and some of the writing is kinda bad. The colorist episode especially, but I still love the original and everything about it. Number 15, Courage the Cowardly Dog. A small timid pooch constantly saves his owners from the supernatural in the middle of nowhere. I really love the atmosphere in this show, really dark and surreal. I think that's what sets it apart from some of the other classic cartoons. Many of us can't forget the disturbing images, and just because it was aimed at kids and families doesn't mean it's gonna hold your hand. Maybe that's what I appreciated as I got older. It also wasn't afraid to tackle more mature subjects. The episode everyone remembers is The Mask, which features themes of prejudice and domestic violence. I love the characters. Courage, as scared as he was, always put fear aside to save the day. I also love the kind and optimistic Muriel and the grumpy Eustace. Some of the villains and monsters are memorable too. Cats is my favorite. I love revisiting this show, and I definitely recommend going back and watching it again.
Stupid dog! You made me look bad!
Number 14, Johnny Bravo. A self-proclaimed ladies' man who is a mix of Elvis and James Dean goes to extreme lengths to oppress women, but he fails in the process. Plot doesn't sound like much, but what's done with it is really hilarious. I always stand by the fact that if Johnny was a horrible character with no redeeming features, then the show wouldn't have worked. But even though he's a pig, you can't help but root for him. And he does have admirable qualities, like the love for his mom, and willing to right wrongs. Plus, kids like watching an enjoyable doofus. I do feel bad the show has gotten somewhat of a bad rep from modern audiences because their issue of the main character harassing women, even though they forget the fact that women always had the upper hand against Johnny, and the show never portrays his behavior in a positive light. Maybe that's why I think an Adult Swim revival would be kinda interesting. Johnny Bravo is a hilarious show, and I never get tired of it.
Yeah, whatever.
Number 13, Rocko's Modern Life. I was debating on whether to put this or Ren and Stimpy, but I find myself loving this show a lot more. A lot works. Rocko is your typical straight man character, is generally nice until you push him too far. The other characters like Heifer, Filbert, and the Big Heads are fun to watch too. Kids can enjoy the weird and quirky characters, but adults can find relatability of navigating your way to adulthood. I found myself relating to certain episodes, since moving out of my parents' house in 2017 and living on my own since, like working a job you don't like, losing a job, or making a sale or you won't have money for food for the week. It also seems like creator Joe Murray and crew were given freedom to do whatever they wanted, and it shows here. From the risque humor to the deranged animation, even the Stay Outta Clean movie made decades later still had the same spark the original series had. Even if it was a 90s show, it's timeless, especially from the perspective of an adult.
That was a hoot!
Number 12, Cat Scratch. This is one of those Nicktoons everyone forgets about, but I think it's a lot of fun. Again, I never read the comic book this was based on, but you don't need to. It follows three cat brothers, Mr. Blick, Waffle, and Gordon, who inherit their wealthy owner's riches once she died. This includes a huge mansion, a monster truck, and a butler Hovis. Think of it as a funny Aristocats. The show was created by Earthworm Jim creator Doug TenNapel, but I personally think Peter Hastings deserves most of the credit for making the show what it is. The cast is excellent, not just the characters, but the voices behind them. Wayne Knight, Rob Paulson, Kevin McDonald, Maurice LaMarche, and Lillian Mooney. It came and went and no one really talks about it, but I think it deserves more attention. Number 11, Avatar: The Last Airbender. Now I gotta come clean, I didn't pay much attention to the show when it first aired in 2005, even though I knew about it, which is understandable. I was more into animated comedies. But I rediscovered it recently, and boy am I kicking myself for it. Now it's become one of my all-time faves. This is the most adult Nickelodeon has ever gotten, and probably will ever get, tackling themes such as genocide, sexism, war, free will, oppression. The art and animation is just amazing, taking its inspiration from anime, with the show itself inspired by Chinese culture. The tone is the right balance. It knows when to be funny and when to be serious. I love how complex these characters are. It's hard for me to choose a favorite. The villains aren't your typical one-note villains, they have depth to them. Azula's meltdown is probably one of my favorite moments of the show. And the voice acting is so good. I just love hearing these characters talk and work off each other. Sorry if it seems like I'm rambling here, but what can I say that hasn't been said already? It's one of the greatest cartoons of all time that took chances and did what others haven't done, back then or today. If you haven't watched a show in a while, then what are you listening to me babble? See it. And that about wraps up part 2. Stay tuned for part 3, coming soon.